last night the College Football Playoff Committee released its rankings, and that wasn't the big story. The big story was Kirk Herbstreit was talking to Reese Davis on the program, and he said the following.
I still think Michigan waves the white flag, potentially avoids playing Ohio State next week. And then, David, they'll potentially get a game on the 19th. They could be sitting there with 6 games. And Michigan, is that fair, David? Michigan could opt out, basically, of that game and keep Ohio State out of 6 games to qualify for the Big Ten championship. That doesn't make sense to me. But I think a lot of people wanted to see where Ohio State would be.
Okay, Herbie walked that back later on in the night. He posted a video and said that he didn't have any inside information, and what he was basing it on, I guess, was just his opinion, a gut feeling that maybe that could happen. I want to bring something up. I want to bring it back up because I said this to you yesterday around this time. My source was telling me about what was going on with Ohio State and Michigan, and I said, any updates on Ohio State? So this is yesterday. It's 24 hours ago. And my source said they're doing everything to play, but will be down significant numbers. Michigan has paused football activities, but don't know the numbers and their availability for this week or next week versus Ohio State. My source then goes on to text me, if they're unable to play Ohio State, they avoid losing to them and eliminate Ohio State from playing in the Big Ten championship. That's from my source yesterday. And then I followed up after what Herbie said last night. And I said, it sounds like they're still playing. Any thoughts on what Herbie had to say? And my source said he's probably been talking to Dabo Swinney regarding the Florida State situation. The situation with Michigan, according to my source, is up in the air. If they can't fill a competitive team, they'll have a tough decision to make against Ohio State. So once again, my source didn't go as far as Herbie did, that they're going to wave the white flag. But that, kind of the blueprint is there, or the outline is there of if Michigan can't be competitive, that they may not want to play this game against Ohio State. Now, obviously, there are COVID issues here. That's first and foremost with all of this. This isn't, hey, we're not any good, we don't want to play Ohio State. If they can't field a competitive team, from what my source told me, then they may not be able to play. They'll have a tough decision, according to my source, to play against Ohio State. But Herbie did backtrack and say, I give Reese Davis a whole lot of credit because I'm assuming that was live TV last night, and Reese was asking Kirk Herbstreit to clarify here. And he was not taking the answers that Herbie was giving him, and Reese really pinned him down to say, do you know exactly what you're saying right now? And I don't know if Herbie did. David Pollack kind of came in and joked a little bit there. But I think that Reese Davis did a wonderful job in saying, guys, you understand what we're talking about here, that Michigan would actually not want to play a football game against Ohio State, that they would actually do whatever they could do to not play against Ohio State. My source is saying COVID is the issue, that if they can't field a competitive team, then maybe they're going to have a really tough decision to make. I'm assuming Ohio State plays Michigan State this weekend, and they don't have a requisite number of games to play for the national championship, because Ohio State could have 4 games and probably still play in the Final Four, but they won't be playing in the Big Ten championship. But that's just some of the background information from yesterday, what happened last night with Herbie. Herbie did walk it back, and I've known Herbie for 30 years, 25 years, and I know that we joke about Ohio State and Michigan because I'm from Ohio. And I hated Michigan growing up. But Herbie never engaged in that as a fan. Never. And he's from Centerville outside of Dayton. He never engaged with that when we would joke off the air about Ohio State, Michigan. He didn't. And he has been a professional when he's on the air talking about Michigan. Because it's the same thing that I went through many, many years ago when I said I don't have an allegiance anymore. Because if I say that I'm a Reds fan and you're a Pirates fan, then you go, well, he's a Reds fan. I had to stop rooting for any team. I don't root for Ohio State. I root for a storyline here. Herbie got caught up in, hey, maybe Ohio State, if you're going to play and Michigan's going to get embarrassed again and you don't want to, and maybe you wave the white flag. Well, you can't say wave the white flag. You can say, if they don't have a competitive team here, do they make a decision based off COVID and the safety of the players they'd be putting out there against a far superior team? You can say it that way. But last night, when you say you're going to wave the white flag, I can't imagine a situation where Jim Harbaugh would go, I don't want to play Ohio State. Deep down, you may go, this may hurt. But I can't imagine those football players are going to go, we don't want to go out there and play. You don't get to that point in your career where all of a sudden you pick and choose when you want to play and don't want to play based off how good somebody is or isn't. And this might just be sort of the overflow of Clemson still heated. Dabo Swinney is still upset at Florida State. And Herbie's got two of his sons who go to Clemson. Maybe he spoke to Dabo, according to my source. Maybe that's where it came from. But I don't know of other situations where coaches are saying that team is opting out. They don't want to face somebody. Yeah, Paul.
Like you said, this topic must be driving Jim Harbaugh crazy. You know him. We've had him on a dozen times. The fact that there are even speculation by anybody out there that his team would rather stay home than get waxed. I know he's not talking. He hasn't done a lot of interviews this year, but that must be driving him nuts.
Yeah, well, it was just strange. I'm watching the show. It's a half-hour show, and then I'm getting ready to watch basketball after that. And I thought, okay, there's not going to be any change in the top four, top five. I was curious about Iowa State. I was curious about BYU, curious about Cincinnati. Basically, that's it. And then all of a sudden, when Herbie started talking, and then he kept talking, and then I went, is somebody going to say anything? And then he turned it over to David Pollack, and David Pollack joked with him a little bit. And then Reese hit the reset button and said, wait, hold on here. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're saying? And he was holding Herbie accountable. And that's what you needed to do. It was very good TV. It wasn't scripted, but it was very good TV.